Rates were established in late 2002.
Did that also include the fuel surcharge?
No, it did not.
So
The contract rates did not include a fuel surcharge.
I thought in your discussion of the fuel surcharges, you were suggesting to some extent that the fuel surcharges were in the indexing of the rate, and then you were being charged a fuel surcharge on top of that, what is called double dipping. Were you suggesting there was double dipping? I wasn't sure whether you were suggesting that or not.
That's not what I was trying to say.
Okay.
I guess I was trying to say partly that, as I said, we had 3-year contracts that started in 2003 and went through 2005. And those contracts essentially compensated the railroads for the cost of fuel. In the base rate, there was no fuel surcharge. Starting in January 1 of 2006, our rates increased 93% over what we had been paying in the last year of the contract, which is 2005. And our rates, our base rates increased, base rates excluding fuel surcharge increased 69%. The total rate, including fuel surcharge, increased 93%. Okay. My point was that the fuel as a part of the RCAF basket of rail cost is 16% of the fuel cost. And our rate increased, base rates, 69%. 69% divided by 16% is more than 4 times. So our base rates increased more than 4 times, and 4 times the multiple of what is considered the fuel cost in the RCAF basket.
The major cost increase the railroads incurred. Did the STB recent rules on fuel surcharges help you?
It has helped some, to the tune of about approaching $1.50 a ton on one of our movements.
My background is in economics, and one of the things economists look at is game theory, and game theory always suggests that a duopoly is more likely to result in agreement on the duopolists, and then if you have triopoly or threepoduc, does that suggest therefore that you're all in favor of the DM&E extension in the Powder River Basin, and that any of you are interested in sort of ponying up and become guarantors of shipments out of the Powder River Basin by the DM&E?
Yes, we certainly do support the DM&E, and we're glad that you guys have seen fit to approve their application for the new railroad.
Well, we don't really approve. What we do is we say that we gave them 160 mitigation things that they had to do in order to build the line, and then do that. They can go ahead and build it. It's not our job to.
I think one of the issues that I would be remiss if I didn't address with the DM&E, we saw from the graph what happened when the second railroad got access into the Powder River Basin, and we saw the effect of competition driving rates down all the time. The railroads continue to prosper. Today, it seems like the railroads are not competing, and once again, we have those very high rates in the 20 mil range. Now, there's some thought that the DM&E could come into service and bring about a similar trend in rates, but I think one of the big obstacles for the DM&E is the fact that they don't directly serve but a small number of coal-fired plants. So many of the plants that obviously take coal today from the Powder River Basin are captive at the destination from the UP or the BNSF, and neither one of those railroads is willingly going to accept a handoff or an interchange of trains from the DM&E.
Wouldn't the common carrier obligation, however, though, require that they would accept an interchange? Or would the bottleneck decision?
Bottleneck position. They need bottleneck relief for the DM&E.
That's the bottleneck issue. And so I would encourage you, I suspect if the DM&E does succeed in its quest or mission to try to build a new railroad, that there's going to be shippers coming to you asking for bottleneck relief.
Because theoretically the DM&E would bring out some coal out of Powder River Basin that would increase capacity on the other lines. Once they both had more capacity, then they would begin bidding to fill that capacity, and that would drive rates down. That's the theory.
Theoretically, yes. That's what.
Let me see here. Go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted, I didn't actually have a question for the group, but I did want to mention, because it hasn't been mentioned yet, and I think we actually try to do this at every hearing we have. We have this group at the Service Transportation Board which deals with consumer assistance issues. We have 2 members of that staff with us today who've traveled out here for this hearing and to listen to what you all have to say. For the most part, the avenues of approach for folks who are concerned about rail issues and how they affect them, you can either file a formal proceeding or you can seek assistance through the Consumer Assistance Program at the board. And I don't know whether any of you have ever sought to use their expertise or not, but others have, with admittedly varying results. Sometimes even with the exercise of your best efforts, you can't get a result that's going to make everybody happy. I dare say you're not going to ever make everybody happy, but at least there's a shot that you might be able to get 2 parties actually speaking to each other, and that's certainly one of the things that they seek to do. Other disputes, service issues, and so forth, and issues involving other rates, not rates, but demurrage and other kinds of extraordinary charges like that are sometimes directed to that group, and they're able to actually get a resolution or get the parties to talking to each other and get some resolution that's reasonably acceptable to both parties, at least for some period of time. So I would just say that the service is there. It's available. All you need to do is avail yourself of it. And you can do that electronically. You can go on the web and to our website and access that service. And they pride themselves on very quick response times to people who avail themselves of that service. They also pride themselves on being able to get in touch with the appropriate person at the specific carrier, whatever that carrier may be, within a very short period of time, and I think certainly less than 24 hours, which is somewhat better than you would expect from our great government. But they do a very good job, I think, and I would suggest to the 4 of you and anyone else in the audience, any other company or shipper in the audience that has a concern in that area, that you might want to avail yourselves of their services. So unless there are any other questions, we will excuse.
I did have one other
You
question
got one?
to Dairyland, and that is on your rail rate chart, that rail rate chart that you have with the increase in, was that in real terms in mils per mile or nominal terms in mils per mile?
It's my understanding that that's nominal
Okay.
cost prices.
Thank you, that's all.
We'll excuse this panel and go to panel 5, I think, at this point.